Well, I think that the third season is going to be even, of course, even more confusing, but also is going to deliver some answers. Not all of them, I think, but I feel like it's going to be quite epic. The audience will be quite satisfied with the end. That's what we hope, because that's what happened to us, and I feel like the showrunners have decided for a very well thought through and good and round ending. I think it's quite a modern narrative, because usually when you see a series from back in the days or films from back in the days, it's usually quite it never jumps back and forth. But I think with Dark, that's also why it's so suspenseful, because you always switch in between the worlds and always jump into the most exciting scenarios possible that the characters are in. So I think it's challenging for the audience, but also very fun, and I think, yeah, very suspenseful. It's always a lot of work to get your head straight and know about when does this happen to the character, what has he experienced before, what is his goal in the scene, where does he want to go. And especially, when we shot in season 2 or 3 scenes that even happened before season 1, and then then also in season 3 there's this parallel world, the other universe, and it's all very confusing, and for us as well. So you ask yourself, okay, what is that? Has that already happened at that state of the character? So we had a sort of assistant on set that would always help us, and sometimes we would watch scenes from season 1 and 2, so we would know, oh yeah, that happened right before that scene. So yeah, it was a lot of work. I think one of the most difficult scenes to play was the one with Michael Kahnwald, my father, in episode 6 in season 2. No, episode 7?
7.
7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah. Because it's there's cuts in between where the show shows other parts of the story, but we shot the scene as one whole. Okay. So it was a very, very long scene with loads of arcs and ups and downs, and of course extremely emotional, and that was one of the most difficult scenes to play for me. I don't think it was their intention to state a particular message, but I don't know. I mean, there's always those two scenarios of our future. One that's the glorious sci-fi scenario of everything that's great and blinky and fabulous, and then there's the big contrast of when everything just is shit. So and for Dark, it wouldn't have really. I don't think it would have suited if the showrunners had picked, the glamorous, glorious future. So they picked the apocalypse. They picked the bad future. And of course, I mean, if we do not change anything about the way we act in this world, it's not that impossible that we see a future like in Dark. So I hope the politicians will somehow get their shit together and start to act in interest of the younger generation, because those are the ones that are going to be on the planet in 30-40 years. It's actually happening in every episode, and it's such a great. I'm always looking forward to that in the episodes. I'm like, oh, at the end there's going to be like a great song and then a compilation of scenes. I really like that. But I also, I mean, it's has there ever been a series where you talk about where you show so many different time periods? I don't think so. So I think the most interesting thing about Dark is that you learn so much and get shown so much about so many different time periods, and I think that's extremely exciting to watch. In the first season, he's very passive and still has to learn loads of stuff, and then becomes more active in the second season. And at the end of the second season, it seems like he's the most active he's ever been, and he has the biggest knowledge he's ever had. And then Martha dies, alternative world Martha comes and rescues him, and suddenly he must learn stuff that that makes him think all the stuff he has learned already is useless. So he's basically thrown back to zero, and has to figure out that there's not only Adam but also other people acting in their interest to change or to use the world. And so it's all about gaining knowledge and understanding in this final season. Well, I really like Helge, you know, the middle-aged Helge in season 1, because he's such a miserable character, and I don't know why, but I love him so much. I just think it's very cute. And also, I mean, everybody does, but I also love Noah. He's a badass. Noah, he's so cool. And I also like Egon from the 50s. I really am. I do not have to lie. We all had our concerns, but on the other hand, we didn't, because we knew that Bo and Jantje, the showrunners, are such amazing minds, and they really know their stuff. And we always knew that they would come up with something that makes sense, and that would make do the story right, I think. And so I don't know why, but I'm really satisfied and glad about the ending.